bastard again. Check 1, 2. Alright, and let's turn it up. Check 1, 2. Mic, check. Hello? Alright, I'm going to leave that up so I can tell if the audio stops working. But anyway, hello everyone and welcome to Storytime. Once again, I'm Brett Picorni and it's good to see all of you who are here. Well, whether you're here or not, for those of you who will be here and for those of you who already are. I can't tell if you're here unless you post a comment. So, just so you know. So if you'd like a little recognition, if you'd like a shout out, feel free. Ah, there we go. Hello, Crystal. Thank you for letting me know that I'm coming in crystal clear. Huzzah! Thank you for being here. And there's Amber. Good evening to you as well. Huzzah! Indeed. It's working. It is working. That is good news. So anyway, let's get to it. Facebook is where you can start following me. That's where I first started this. So find me on Facebook if you like. Brett Picorni, not too hard to find. And you can also join in the Storytime Facebook group. 2 words, exclamation point at the end. Simple as that. Then there's YouTube. Please, if you're on YouTube, like this video. Do it. It helps me. It helps me. Anyway, like the video. Subscribe if you haven't. The channel is bpicorni1. And, share it with your friends. That way they can jump in too. Then, and thank you, Amber, for hitting like. I do appreciate that. Then there's also Twitch. I also happen to be on Twitch. So you can follow me there as well. All one word, Brett Doesn't Game. Anyway, once again, it is story time. It's 11 p.m. I've been going for a minute or two now. And tonight we resume Goosebumps. That's right. We resume Goosebumps from where we left off. The particular book we're reading is Be Careful What You Wish For. And I do want to set the ambience tonight. Again, I'm going to refrain from the candles until I get a few more candles that I can light, because it's just not bright enough for me to, do this well like that. So, what I will do, however, I will put on some spooky music, if that helps. I think it does. Ooh, that ought to be good. I found 1 hour of H.P. Lovecraft music, orchestral, ambient, creepy horror music for role-playing and gaming. That'll work just fine. Ooh. Oh, that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Hello, Mum, I see you have joined. Huzzah! So anyway, shall we get to it? I've got the music playing. I've got the book right here. R.L. Stine, Goosebumps. Be careful what you wish for. There is one more announcement I have to make, though, by the way. And that is, say no to peer pressure. Say no to peer pressure. Now that that is out of the way. Oh yes, just like Amber, everyone. Hit like. It's important. Anyway, shall we? Chapter 16. As I pedaled closer, my heart pounded happily. I saw that she had her back turned to me. She had changed her outfit. She was wearing a purple wool beret and a long black coat down nearly to her ankles. Oh my. I screeched my bike to a halt a few feet behind her, my tires skidding over the pebbly road. I need to make another wish, I called breathlessly. She turned, and I gasped. I stared into a face full of freckles, a young-looking face framed by short, curly blonde hair. I'm sorry, what did you say? She asked, narrowing her eyes at me, her expression bewildered. I'm sorry, I stammered, feeling my face turn hot. I thought you were someone else. It was a different woman. That was a nice little peek in music there. I felt so embarrassed I just wanted to die. Behind her I saw two blonde-haired kids tossing a frisbee back and forth at the edge of the woods. "Tommy, don't throw it so hard, little whiny bastard. Your sister can't catch it," the woman instructed. "Well, your sister needs to learn to catch it." Sorry, maybe that's harsh of me. Then she turned back to me. "What did you say about wishes? Are you lost?" she asked, studying my face with concern. Do. I knew I was still blushing, but I couldn't help it. "No, I thought you were—" I started. "Tommy, go chase it yourself," she shouted to her little boy. The two kids started squabbling. She hurried over to settle it. "Sorry I bothered you," I called. "Bye." I turned my bike around and started pedaling rapidly toward home. I was embarrassed that I'd said such a stupid thing to a total stranger, but mainly I was disappointed. I really had expected the strange woman to be there. Where else could she be? I asked myself. I remembered that I had shown her the way to Madison Road. Maybe, I decided, I will get lucky and run into her there. It was a real long shot, but I was desperate. I turned my bike around and made my way to Madison. The wind had picked up, and my face began to feel cold and raw. I was riding against the wind, and the sharp cold was making my eyes water. Itchy eye here. There we are. Good deal. Got that scratching. Oh, a few good scratches. Elbow scratch. Don't you just love scratching? As long as it's not like a bite or something like that. Those random scratches and just a quick little itch. Well, it scratches that itch. Isn't it wonderful? Here we go. Let me give you a little more here. Yes, that's what... There we go. That's what you came for, right? Anyway, even through the blur, I could see that the woman was not hanging around on Madison waiting for me to show up. Two mangy brown mutts trotted side by side across the street, their heads bowed against the wind. They were the only living creatures I saw. I rode slowly back and forth a few times, my eyes searching the rambling old houses of the neighborhood. A total waste of time. I was completely frozen. My ears and nose tingled with numbness. My watering eyes sent cold tears rolling down my cheeks. "Give up, Sam," I instructed myself aloud. The sky darkened. The storm clouds hovered low above the shivering trees. Feeling miserable and defeated, I turned and headed for home. I was pedaling furiously down the center of the road, trying to keep my bike upright in the gusting wind. I stopped when Judith's house came into view. It was a long, low, redwood branch-style house set back from the street on a wide, sloping front lawn. Oh, was it now? By the way, I see Elizabeth has joined. Huzzah! Glad you're here. And yeah, do comment. Leave comments, everyone. That way you can get a huzzah. Maybe you'll stop for a minute and see how Judith is doing, I decided. It'll give me a chance to get warm too, I thought. I reached up a hand and felt my nose. Totally numb. Shivering, I rode up the driveway and lowered my bike to the ground. Then, trying to rub some feeling into my poor nose, I jogged up the walk and rang the bell. Mrs. Bellwood seemed very surprised to see a visitor. I said goodbye. About the same, she replied with a worried sigh. She had Judith's green eyes, but her hair was nearly entirely grey. She led me into the hallway, which felt toasty and warm. The house smelled of roasting chicken. I suddenly realized I was hungry. "Judith, you have a visitor," Mrs. Bellwood shouted up the stairs. I heard a weak reply, but couldn't make out the words. "Go on up," Judith's mother said, putting a hand on the shoulder of my coat. "You look so cold," she added. "Well, duh." She didn't say well, duh, but she probably thought it. Shaking her head, "Be careful, dear, you don't want to get sick too." I climbed the stairs and found Judith's room at the end of the hall. I hesitated at the doorway and peered in. Hello, Eric. I see you have joined. Huzzah! The room was dimly lit. I could see Judith lying in bed, on top of the quilt. Her head propped up on several pillows. Books and magazines and a couple of school notebooks were scattered over the bed, but Judith wasn't reading. She was just staring straight ahead. "Stork?" she cried. Seeing me in the doorway, I entered the room, forcing a smile to my face. "How are you feeling?" I asked softly. "What are you doing here?" she asked coldly. Her voice was hoarse. I was riding my bike and..." I stammered, staying by the door. I was startled by her anger. "Riding your bike? In this cold?" With great effort, she pulled herself up to a sitting position. Leaning against the headboard, she glared at me suspiciously. "I just wondered how you were," I muttered. "Why don't you just fly away, bird?" she growled nastily. "Huh? You are a witch, aren't you?" she accused. I couldn't believe she was saying these things. I was stunned, shocked. It was no joke. I could see clearly that she was serious. "You did cast a spell on us, I know it." "Judith, please," I cried. "What are you saying?" "We did a unit on witches in social studies last year," she said in her hoarse voice. "We studied spells and things." "That's crazy," I insisted. "You were jealous of me, Sam, of me and Anna and everyone else," Judith accused. "So?" I cried angrily. "So all of a sudden all the girls on the team feel weak and sick, except for you, Sam. You feel fine, right?" "Judith, listen to me," I pleaded. "You're a witch, Sam," she screamed, her weak voice breaking. She started to cough. "Judith, you're talking like a crazy person," I insisted. "I'm not a witch. How could I be a witch? I'm sorry you're sick, really I am, but..." "You're a witch! You're a witch!" Judith chanted, her voice shrill, whisper. "I've talked to all the girls. They all agree you're a witch. A witch!" I was furious. I thought I'd explode. I had my hands balled into tight fists. My head was throbbing. Judith had been talking to all the other girls, spreading the story that I was a witch. How could she do such a crazy thing? "A witch! You're a witch!" she continued to chant. I was so upset I totally lost it. "Judith!" I shrieked. I never would have done it to you if you hadn't been so horrible to me." I realized immediately that I had made a terrible mistake. I had just admitted to her that I was responsible for her being sick. I had just blurted out that I was a witch, but I was so furious I didn't care. "I knew it!" Judith croaked in her hoarse voice, her green eyes glowing excitedly, pointing an accusing finger at me. "What's going on here? What's all the shouting?" Judith's mother appeared in the room, her eyes flashing back and forth between Judith and me. "She's a witch! A witch!" Judith screamed. "Judith, your voice!" "Stop!" Mrs. Bellwood cried, running to the bed. She turned back to me. "I think Judith is delirious. She's saying such crazy things. Please don't pay attention. She's a witch! She admitted it! She's a witch!" Judith shrieked. "Judith, please, you have to calm down. You have to save your strength," Mrs. Bellwood pleaded. "I'm sorry. I'll go now," I said sharply. I darted out of the room, ran down the stairs and out of the kitchen as fast as I could. "A witch! A witch!" Judith's hoarse chant followed me out. I was so angry, so hurt, so humiliated, I felt about to explode. "I wish Judith would disappear," I screamed. "I really do." "Very well. That shall be your second wish," said a small voice behind me. I spun around to see the strange woman standing at the side of the house, her long, black hair fluttering behind her in the gusting wind. She held the glowing red ball high. Her eyes glowed red as red as the ball. "I shall cancel your first wish," she said in her shaky old lady voice, "and I shall grant your second." "No!" Chapter 17. "No! Wait!" I cried. The woman smiled and pulled her shawl over her head. "Wait! I didn't mean it!" I cried, running toward her. "I didn't know you were there! Wait! Ow!" My foot caught on a loose stone in the walk, and I stumbled. I hit my knees hard. The pain shot her through my entire body. When I looked up, she was gone. After dinner, Ron agreed to play basketball out back, but it was too cold and windy. A light snow had started to fall. We settled for ping-pong in the basement. Ping-pong games in our basement are always difficult. For one thing, the ceiling is so low the ball is always hitting it and bouncing crazily away. But Also, Pumpkin has a bad habit of chasing after the ball and biting holes in it. That little bastard dog. Ping pong is the only sport I'm good at. I have a really tricky serve, and I'm good at slamming the ball down my opponent's throat. I can usually beat Ron 2 games out of 3. But tonight he could see my heart wasn't in it. "What's up?" he asked as we batted the ball softly back and forth. His dark eyes peered into mine and behind his black-framed glasses. I decided I had to tell him about Clarissa and her red crystal ball and the 3 wishes. I was so desperate to tell someone. "I helped this strange woman a few days ago," I blurted out, "and she granted me 3 wishes. And now all the girls on my basketball team are going to die." Ron dropped his paddle onto the table. His mouth dropped open. "What an amazing coincidence," he cried. "Huh?" I gaped at him. "I met my fairy godmother yesterday," Ron exclaimed. "She promised to make me the richest person in the world, and she's going to give me a solid gold Mercedes with a swimming pool in the back." Sounds like a sweet deal to me. Although I have a Tesla, I'm a pretty big fan of that, so keep your Mercedes. He burst out laughing. He just thinks he's such a riot. "Ah!" I let out an angry, frustrated groan. Then I tossed my paddle at him and ran upstairs to my room. I slammed the bedroom door. Let me help you out again. There we go. I slammed the bedroom door behind me and began to pace back and forth, my arms crossed tightly in front of me. I kept telling myself that I had to calm down, that it wasn't good to be this stressed out. But of course, telling yourself to calm down doesn't do any good. Ah, yes, the bottle's having a party in the back. It makes you more tense. Telling yourself calm down, that's what makes you more tense. I decided I had to do something to occupy my mind. I keep myself from thinking about Judith and Clarissa and the new wish I had accidentally made. My second wish. "It's not fair," I cried aloud, still pacing. "After all, I didn't know I was making a second wish. That woman tricked me. She appeared out of nowhere and tricked me." I stopped in front of my mirror and fiddled with my hair. I have very fine, light blonde hair. It's so fine there isn't much I can do with it. I usually tie it in a ponytail on the right side of my head. It's a style I saw on the model that looked a little like me in 17. Just to keep my hands busy, I tried doing something else with my hair. Studying myself in the mirror, I tried sweeping it straight back. Then I tried parting it in the middle and letting it fall over my ears. It looked really lame. Sure it did, Sam. I'm sure it did. The activity wasn't helping. It wasn't taking my mind off Judith at all. I pulled it back into the same old ponytail. Then I brushed it for a while, tossed down the brush with a sigh, and returned to pacing. Oh, Sam. My big question, of course, was, had my wish come true? Sorry. Hangnail. Had my wish come true? Had I caused Judith to disappear? As much as I hated Judith, I certainly didn't want to be responsible for making her disappear forever. With a loud moan, I tossed myself down on my bed. What should I do? I asked myself. I had to know if the wish had come true. I decided to call her house. I wouldn't talk to her. I'd just call her house and see if she was still around. I wouldn't even tell them who was calling. I looked up Judith's number in the school directory. I didn't know it by heart. I had only called it once before. My hand was shaking as I reached for the phone on my desk. I punched in her phone number. It took me 3 tries. I kept making mistakes. I was really scared. I felt as if my stomach were tied in a knot and my heart had jumped up into my throat. The phone rang. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3 rings. Had she disappeared? Party in the back, much like a, much like a mullet. I don't have one of those, but I could. Chapter 18. I will wrap it up after Chapter 18. Chapter 18. 4 rings, no answer. She's gone, I murmured aloud, a chill running down my spine. Before the fifth ring could begin, I heard a clicking sound. Someone had picked up the receiver. Hello? Judith! Hello? Who is this? She demanded. I slammed the receiver down. My heart was pounding. My hands were ice cold. I breathed a sigh of relief. Judith was there. She was definitely there. She hadn't vanished from the face of the earth. And I realized her voice had returned to normal. She didn't sound hoarse or weak. She sounded as nasty as ever. What did this mean? I jumped to my feet and began to pace back and forth, trying to figure it all out. Of course, I couldn't figure it out. I only knew that the second wish hadn't been granted. Feeling a little relieved, I went to bed and quickly fell in heavy, dreamless sleep. I opened one eye, then the other. Pale morning sunlight was shining through me. Sleepy groan, I pushed down the covers and started to sit up. My eye went to the clock above my desk. I gasped. Nearly 10 after 8. I rubbed my eyes and yes, 10 after 8. Huh? Right, trying to clear sleep from my voice. Mom wakes me every morning at 7 so I can get to school by 8:30. What happened? There's no way I'd be on time now. Hey, Mom! I shouted. Mom! I jumped out of bed, my long legs up in the covers, and I nearly fell over. Great way to start the day with a typical Santa Claus move. Hey, Mom! I shouted out the door. What happened? I'm late! Not hearing a reply, I pulled off my nightshirt and quickly searched through the closet for some clean clothes to wear. Today was Friday, laundry day, so I was down to the bottom of the pile. Hey, Mom, Ron, anybody up? Goodness. Dad leaves the house for work every morning at 7. Usually, I hear him moving around. This morning, I hadn't heard a sound. I pulled on a pair of faded jeans and a pale green sweater. Then I brushed my hair, staring at my still sleepy face in the mirror. Anybody up? I shouted. How come no one woke me today? It's not a holiday, is it? I listened carefully as I tugged on my Doc Martens. No radio on down in the kitchen. Mum has that radio turned to the all-new station every morning. Tune. You once knew that I want music. But today I couldn't hear a sound down there. What's going on? Hey, I'm late. One last look in the mirror, brushed a strand of hair off my forehead, and hurried out into the hall. My brother's room is next door to mine. His door was... Uh-oh. Ron, I thought. Did you sleep late too? I pounded on the door. Ron! Ron, are you awake? Silence. Ron! I pushed open the door. His room was dark except for the pale light from the window. The bed was made. Had Ron already left? Why had he made his bed? It would be the first time in his life he ever did. Hey, Mum! Confused, I hurried down the stairs. Halfway down, I stumbled and nearly fell. Class move number 2. Pretty good for so early in the morning. What's going on down here? Is it the weekend? Did I sleep through Friday? The kitchen was empty. No Mum, no Ron, no breakfast. Oh my. Did they have to go somewhere early? I checked the refrigerator for a note. Nothing. Puzzled, I glanced at the clock. Nearly 8:30. I was already late for school. Why didn't anyone wake me up? Why were they all gone so early in the morning? I pinched myself. I really did. I thought maybe I was dreaming, but no such luck. Hey, anyone! I called. My voice rang through the empty house. I ran to the front closet to get my coat. I had to get to school. I was sure this mystery would be cleared up later. I quickly pulled on my coat and ran upstairs for my backpack. My stomach was grumbling and growling. I was used to at least a glass of juice and a bowl of cereal for breakfast. Oh well, I thought, I'll buy an extra big lunch. A few seconds later, I headed out the front door and around to the side of the garage to get my bike. I pulled up the garage door and stopped. I froze, staring into the garage. Still in the garage. I hadn't left for work. So, where was everyone? Don't forget, by the way, to say no to peer pressure! No to peer pressure. That is the end of story time for the evening. I hope you enjoyed it. That was Goosebumps. Be careful what you wish for. And we will be resuming that next Tuesday. Tomorrow night we will pick up with Dracula. Then Saturday and Sunday we've got Russian fairy tales. Plus, possibly an original story or two. Anyway, find me on Facebook, Brett Piccone, or you can join the story group page/group. It's Storytime, 2 words, exclamation point at the end. Then, don't forget to like this video on YouTube if you haven't, subscribe to my channel, share with others so that they may subscribe as well, and join in on the fun. Piccone1, that's the name of the channel. Then, there's Twitch as well. Don't forget to follow along on Twitch if you have one of those. It's Brett Doesn't Game, all one word, no apostrophes, no spaces, no punctuation of any kind, just Brett Doesn't Game. 2 T's in Brett, by the way. And yes, good night to you as well, Amber. You are most certainly welcome. So yes, everyone, thank you for being a part of it this evening, and I look forward to seeing you again for story time tomorrow when we read Bram Stoker's Dracula. Until then, I bid you adieu.